Yo ho ho and a bottle of fantasy. It is Rick Kamla. It is Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, aka Dr. A. I see him smiling. I'm smiling. Hopefully you're smiling. And we are going to preview Tuesday night's games here in the NBA. It's a light slate. We got 4 games, but we got all kinds of rankings, all kinds of categorizations on this night in the NBA, helping you make money or win fantasy leagues. Before we get into our top 5 streamers, and Doc will go first, our sponsor, Bet Online. They're the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA, college basketball, NHL, and UFC, and more, Bet Online continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, Bet Online has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. Bet Online, the game starts here. All right, Doc, 4 games on Tuesday night. Kevin Durant is in, according to reports, with the ankle available to play. Lonzo Ball for the Bulls is out again. Illness, 3rd straight DNP. RJ Barrett out for the Raptors against the 76ers. Concussion, 5th game in a row that he will miss. Joel Embiid is questionable with that pesky knee, Doc. But and I believe that Joel Embiid is going to miss this game. It's the first of a back-to-back, and the next game is against Brooklyn. So he's going to take one of these games off. So this is probably going to be the game. And then Miles Turner is a situation we got to monitor heading into the next game. He's questionable with the neck injury. It's kept him out for a game or two, and obviously that's a huge pivot point in a variety of ways for that game. So Doc, give us your top 5 streaming options for Tuesday night.
Well, you mentioned Miles Turner, and I think if he's out, Thomas Bryant should be on your radar. And I had Thomas Bryant on my list, and then I crossed him off, and now I'm putting him back on it. So I'm back up to 5. If Turner's out, I play Thomas Bryant, and then Ochai Agbaji, who I think is on both of our lists, with no RJ Barrett in Toronto. I think he's solid. Precious Achiuwa is on my list. I'm an Achiuwa guy lately. He's been playing well with no OG Anunoby. And then my other 2, you're probably going to call them bogus because they should be rostered everywhere at this point. Well, one of them should be. Matas Buzelis. He's still not owned in enough leagues for my liking. So he's an automatic play every night now. He should be picked up in leagues. And then Ausar Thompson. I think he's still available in a good number of leagues. I don't really think he's a must-own player, but he's in the ballpark. So those are my 5 guys.
I like it, dude. Buzelis is still like 28, 30% rostered in Yahoo leagues, Doc. So we don't view him as a streamer anymore, but the greater fantasy public does, especially if you're in 10 or 12 team leagues. He may still be circulating out there on waivers. Ausar Thompson to me is a must-have. Buzelis to me is a must-have. Ausar Thompson just keeps getting better each game. Look at the last week. Look at the last 2 weeks. It's like, I don't know, 11, 7, and 4 kind of thing with like 2+ steals per game. Like the Thompson twins do, you don't get threes, but it's a really good overall stat line. All right, so my top 5 streamers for Tuesday night. I guess I have 6 here, but I want to throw Mogbo into the equation here, Doc. I did see a GTD by his name, so this is if he plays, but I believe he will. All right, they're at Philadelphia. He's playing a big, if not center position for Toronto. Joel Embiid, I believe, will miss this game. That's going to help him. But over the last 3 games, the minutes have gone 19, 28, 31. The points have gone 10, 10, and 10. He's got 6 stocks in the last 3 games to a game, pretty good. And the rebounds are at 5. So 10 and 5, 2 stocks per game, okay? It's not awesome. It's a streamer. And if you're in a deep league and you want a dice roll on him, like the Cam Dynasty, a 14-team league, he's already on Brewski's team. I looked him up today trying to pick him up. Brew already has him. Look, I don't love Agbaji, but with RJ Barrett out, he got 32 minutes in the last game. We know that Darko Rajakovic likes him. Remember earlier in the year, Doc, he was playing huge minutes for Toronto and putting a pretty good stat lines. Previous game, 32 minutes, 11, 5, and 2. I don't love him. The fantasy gold isn't great from Ochai Agbaji. Wanted to bring him up. Okay, Joel Embiid is likely out, in my opinion. Again, this is a bit speculative. He hasn't been ruled out yet, but I believe he will. So Kelly Oubre, Doc, because Paul George is garbage right now. Kelly Oubre is frankly a better fantasy player than Paul George right now. That's right. I said it. Pull quoted, put it out over the world. I don't care. And then Yabu Sele, obviously, is the pivot guy off of Embiid. I was bummed out the previous game, Doc, when Embiid started and Yabu was off the bench. But Oubre and Yabu, big time activated if Embiid is out. You talked about Achua. Let me just put some numbers to that. Last 3 games, the minutes, Doc, have gone 34, 36, 33. And the stat line in those games has gone 9 and 7 with 1 assist, a little bit less than a block, and 1.7 steals. So I don't love that stat line, but it is it's a really good streamer stat line. Mogbo is probable for Tuesday, as is Grady Dick in that game against Philadelphia. And then, Doc, finally, Tyus Jones. No Bradley Beal leads me to this direction. Last game, he went 15 points, 10 assists. Last 3 games, he's been at 29-plus minutes. Thank you, Coach Bud. And he's been at about a 13-6 clip. So Tyus Jones, Achua, Yabu, Oubre, Agbaji, and Mogbo. And Oubre, for me, is probably in that same Osar category for you. Like, Oubre should be rostered. Do you know what I'm saying? But just in case he's not, I'm throwing him out there.
I don't think you were with Sports Ethos yet when we were doing our early season stuff. And Brewski loves Mobo, man. He loves him. And he's got him on all of his rosters. He was not going to be available to you if Brewski was in that league. And I haven't heard Brew talk about him lately. So it's nice to see that you're paying attention and keeping us aware that Mobo is still a thing.
I promise you, Doc, in an upcoming show with Brew, he's going to be talking about Mogbo. And I am the same type of guy. When I get on a dude, Doc, like especially in football, right? Like Chase Brown, the running back for the Bengals coming out of Illinois. Loved him, right? He had an awesome 40 in the combine. He's rocked up, dude. I'm like the size speed combo. And I'm just like, that's my guy. Draft. Took him in every one of my dynasty leagues, and obviously that's paying off. You know what I'm saying? I love that Brew does that. I know you do it as well. You've got your guys. That's what we do. We're talent evaluators in fantasy sports. At least you have to be if you want to be really good, especially in dynasty leagues. All right, Doc, let's keep it moving here with 3 players to watch closely as we approach this 4-game slate on Tuesday night. You go first, my bro.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we're picking 3 players from those 4 games, or if it's wide open. I tried to go with those games. Justin Edwards has been starting for Philly. I don't know that I love what he's been doing. He's been okay. But I mean, he's a guy I think you want to keep an eye on in case he keeps getting big minutes in Philly. And then Royce O'Neal, with Bradley Beal out, I think he gets a little bit of a boost as well for Phoenix. And he plays, 25, 30 minutes a night. And that's where Thomas Bryant went to. I moved Thomas Bryant to my watch list. But 2 other guys that are definitely worth keeping an eye on right now that don't play tomorrow, I don't believe they play, is your guy, Matkovich, for the Pelicans, and then this Vucevic guy that's coming off the bench in Phoenix had a big game on Monday night. And it's just a name I would keep an eye on. He seems like he could have some silly season flavor there in Washington.
I like it, dude. Couple of European dudes. They have, that 1-1-1 block, steal, and 3-ball type of game. I like your list, dude. Justin Edwards is one of those guys. The minutes are long and the production just isn't there. But he's young. Maybe he develops into that. But kind of like Agbaji. Agbaji's not an awesome stat guy, right? He's got to play 30 plus minutes to even have an on the radar for fantasy stat line. So I like that list, Doc. All right, here's who I'm watching closely heading into and during Tuesday night slate. It is the Fantasy NBA today. Rick Kamla, Steve Alexander, Hall of Famer. Andrew Nebhard. Doc, Andrew Nebhard is in an an ebb right now with the ebb flow game. He had 2 points in 22 minutes in their last game. Over the last 2 games, Doc, he has 6 points in 53 minutes. Ugh. Okay. And they're super deep. You've got Neesmith, you've got Shepard, you've got Matherin, you've got McConnell, right? Like if Nebhard's playing like crap, Carlisle has guys to go to. So I'm watching that. I'm also watching Miles Turner and Thomas Bryant. If Miles Turner comes back with this neck injury, then Thomas Bryant should be sent back to waivers. But if if Miles Turner is out, Thomas Bryant's going to flirt with a double-double in this game. All right. So I'm with Doc on that. And that's not really a during the game thing. That's a before the game thing. And you can actually activate that for your team. Be careful, though, this week. I want to throw this out there in Yahoo Leagues, Doc. Okay. It's one of those 2-week weeks. We've got this week, and then we've got next week after the All-Star. And you've only got 4 moves for basically almost 2 weeks. Again, they should double that up for us. They don't. You've got 4 moves. You've got to be very, very careful. You can't just willy-nilly make moves. And that's how I like to operate. And then, Doc, 2 other things here. I guess I'll give you 1.5 then. Memphis outside the big 3, Doc. Outside of Bane, Morant, and JJJ. Wells in the previous game played 12 minutes. Edey in the previous game played 13 minutes. You check out this bench, dude. Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama, Gigi Jackson, Luke Kennard, and Vince Williams. That's a hell of a bench, dude. And so you've got all those ways to go for Taylor Jenkins, and it's a mess outside the big 3. Watching that. And then Kevin Durant's going to play, Doc. He's available, as I said. And you know what? It kind of sucks for Bol because Bol's been getting busy with Kevin Durant out, but now KD's coming back, and Bol's probably not going to play a single minute, man. So I want to see if Coach Bud is like, yo, Bol earned himself 15 to 20 minutes here, even with Kevin Durant in the lineup.
I'm surprised I haven't heard any bold chatter out of my son. He loves him some Bol. So yeah, that is something to keep an eye on. He's so fun when he plays, but we just hardly ever get to see him.
I don't understand why, Doc. I don't. I mean, Jonathan Isaac is making like $17 million a year or something crazy like that. I don't know why. I forget what his last contract was. Are you telling me that Jonathan Isaac's that much better than Bol? I'm not buying that. Like Shaq always says, he'd be Michael Jordan, but he's lazy in practice. I don't know. Is Shaq making that up? Does Shaq know that? You know what I mean? Anyway, dude, a little Bol talk for you right there. All right, Doc. The next topic up for discussion here, top 3 risers and fallers or season-long stashes here. You can take it in a variety of directions. Where are you going to go?
Yeah, these aren't really stashes. Again, Buzelis, I think, should be rostered everywhere. My guy, Corey Kispert in Washington has a chance to be a silly season hero. Although I didn't like what Washington did on Monday. They played a bunch of guys a lot of minutes, and they all just kind of shared the wealth. And I like to see, 5 guys go out there and get all the minutes. But it is what it is. And Aaron Wiggins does not play tonight, but he played last night. And that dude has been balling out for Oklahoma City. I don't know how much people are talking about him. But where's his line tonight? His line from Monday. He's hit double digits in a bunch of games in a row. He's playing really well. The Thunder are absolutely rolling people. They destroyed the poor Pelicans on Monday night. And Aaron Wiggins off the bench had 24 points on 9 of 13 shooting with 4 triples and 3 steals. And I know we're gonna, I know that happened yesterday, but I'm just saying, if Aaron Wiggins is available in your league, you should probably pick him up because I don't think he's going to be sitting out there for much longer. His game log over the past, let's look at that. Like in February, he scored 2 points on January 29th, 4 points a game before that. And then February got here. He scored 41, 13, 17, 18, had 26 points and 11 boards on Saturday, and then backed it up on Monday with 24 and 4 more triples. He's got 8 triples in his last 2 games. He's not going to be available much longer if he keeps that up.
Doc, he's been absolutely fantastic. I'm looking for. Look, you've got Cason Wallace out, you've got Isaiah Joe out, and he's taking full advantage here. Remember that game where Jalen Williams did not play, and Aaron Wiggins was like, "Yo, 41." I like that list, dude. I do. So I want to kind of debate these a little bit with you as I get into my list here, and how I did this, Doc. I did some risers and I did some fallers. And these are based on the games that are played. So I didn't go open-ended on this. I went with the 4 games that are being played on Tuesday, okay? Some risers. Emmanuel Quickly, welcome to the party. Doc,
he's got to play, right? He's got to get big minutes with guys hurt.
Exactly. And your guy Davion Mitchell starting for the Heat on Monday. What was that? Anyway, quickly, last game, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and I can't read my writing, and 3 threes. That was against Houston. So I don't know how long he's going to play, Doc, but I don't know. Like, Toronto's got to bring Brandon Ingram in at some point. They've got to see how this all fits. Is RJ Barrett done for the year? I don't think so. I think Toronto's going to play their guys. I think they realize it is what it is. And Toronto, to me, like, they won a championship somewhat recently, 5 years ago. I don't know. I don't think they just want to go 1-20 at the end of the year. They have a fan base that loves their team. They fill the arena every night. I think they're going to play their guys, dude. I don't. Maybe not the last week of the regular season. Maybe they start shutting them down in championship week, which would suck. But, I think we're still going to get some good meat on the bone from Toronto. So what do you think about Quickly as a riser here?
Yeah, I like it a lot. What I don't trust is Brandon Ingram to play many games for them. I feel like they want to play Brandon Ingram, but I just have zero faith in him. Like, I have a lot more faith in Jimmy Butler in Miami than I do Brandon Ingram in Toronto.
Me too.
So I don't know if they're going to play Brandon Ingram or not. I haven't even seen a report about Brandon Ingram lately. I also haven't looked for one because I frankly don't care.
He's just continuing to miss games with this ankle injury, Doc, / love of the game. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. It's the Fantasy NBA today. It's Cam, it's Doc, previewing Tuesday night slate. Oscar Thompson, to me, Doc, is a riser. And over the last week, he's been 14, 7, and 4, 2.3 steals. Are you with me on Oscar as a really widespread ad if he's still on waivers, and overall a riser and a guy that people should be trying to plug into here as we head down the stretch?
Yeah, especially if you need steals. He's getting good minutes. He's playing a decent role for Detroit. I was worried they were going to baby him the entire season, but I think the fact that they're winning games is inspiring them to play their guys, and he's one of their guys. He's one of their foundation pieces at this point. So, yeah, I can get behind that. Earlier this season, I was like, nah, I'm out on Oscar the rest of this year. But the minutes are creeping up, and he looks good. So I'll change my mind on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, these guys, we have opinions based on what we know at that point. And some of it is like you're just at a fork in the road and you have to wildly speculate. But a lot of times, you got some stuff to go on and it's not enough for you, right? And it wasn't enough for Doc. There have been some guys that I've been stubborn on Doc and been like, no, I got to see more, right? One isn't immediately coming to mind. But I tell you what, this guy had me at hello. Matas Buzelis, and I know you talked about him, Doc, but I've got him here in another category, the riser category. We're all going to be really salty with Billy Donovan if Lonzo Ball comes back and Buzelis goes back to the bench to start Lonzo Ball with 3 other guards. Like, bro, it's so obvious. This actually, Doc, would be, and I do love Billy Donovan, great guy, awesome coach, going to the Hall of Fame one day. But, Doc, this would be worse than Steve Kerr curbing TJD. If you at this point didn't start on Chicago, who cares, bro? You suck, right? Play him. Come on, first round pick. So over the last week, Doc, he's 18, 4, and 2, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 1.7 threes. This is the first quasi full-time gig this dude has had in the NBA, Doc, over the last week. And our boy is hitting us with 5 fantasy gold nuggets, basically, which is essentially elite. 2 blocks, 2 threes, 1 steal. That's elite.
And I think Chicago's finally figured out that he's better than Pat Williams. And now there's no Zach LaVine, right? So, I mean, it's Buzella's season, and I love him. And the other thing is, this is dumb if you're in a really competitive league, but if you're, in a league where there's a lot of good players sitting on the waiver wire, Buzella's is going to get a lot of pub and a lot of hype by being in the dunk contest next weekend. And I think it's probably going to cause his ownership to spike once people are like, oh man, this dude can play. He's so fun to watch. So I do think he is definitely a riser.
That is an outstanding point. Doc, it's such a good point, man. It's like when Elon Musk comes out and talks about Tesla, doesn't the stock go up or something like that? It's like, once it's sort of visible and seen and heard, everybody gets on it. I think that's a great point about Buzelis. But look, Doc, we've been screaming about some guys. Isaiah Collier, go get him. Doc, we've been screaming about Isaiah Collier for about 6 weeks now, okay? I'm sure we were the first to have our flag planted in that mountain. Buzelis, we've been on him for 2 weeks, probably about the week before he even popped. We were saying, watch this kid. And so anyway, that's what we do over here, man. You come to us for the good stuff. Nobody does fantasy better than us, and that's baseball, football, and basketball, okay? Sports ethos. Our people are brilliant, and we grind for you, okay? We don't take anything for granted, and we turn over every stone finding you the goodies to help you make money and win championships. He's Doc. I'm Cam. Now, let me get to my faller list, Doc. I have 2 guys here, okay? And one of these may be a bit of a sell high, too, but Paul George. Let's get into the dilapidation of Paul George. A guy who has a great podcast, a guy who players like idolize. Man, I grew up loving Paul George. Okay, cool. But and he's going to the Hall of Fame. We know this. Over the last 3 games, Doc, all since the return from his latest malady, whatever the F that was, he's waiver wire. He's 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Dude, Paul George, 12, 2 and 3 is his PRA. What? 0.7 blocks, 2.3 steals, and 2.3 threes. Okay, the fantasy gold is pretty good, but a PRA of 12, 2 and 3 for a guy who usually is at about 23, 5 and 6 or 5 and 5. So like if you can get anything for Paul George right now, can you get PJ Washington for him? Can you get Dyson Daniels for him? I mean, I just throw lines in the water. Just literally pick random dudes in your league to trade Paul George away for. But he's on my faller list, Doc.
I saw something on Twitter today, and I should have saved it and wrote it down. But someone posted that Paul George has uploaded more video clips from his podcast to his YouTube channel this season than he has either taken or made shots or something like that from Philly.
Wow.
Since he's been in Philly. And he said something like, this is not a joke. He spends more time on his podcast than he does playing offense for our team. You add that to what Joel Embiid is doing, which is missing games. And it must be so frustrating to be a Philly basketball fan. At least they got a Super Bowl, though, right?
Yes, they did. And they stuck it to the man.
They did. It was so I was pleased. But yeah, I have Paul George, and in the league where I drafted Paul George, and I still don't know why I did it. I know when I did it, I was like, oh no. And
that's like me with Quickly. That one league where I drafted Quickly. Same thing. Like as soon as I drafted him, I'm like, why'd you just draft Quickly, bro?
And I was griping in my league chat. And I was like, this is gonna ruin my season. And that I'm in like 11th place in that league. And it's one of my favorite leagues. So it makes me very sad. But he's awful. And they're awful. Philly's awful. Philly, like, are they back in the hunt yet?
Let me look at it, dude. I don't know. They're
What's their
sniffing the
record?
play-in tournament. I know they are.
Th- They
They're sniffing
are
it.
they are
They're
still
1.5 behind the Bulls, who are in 10th
one and
place.
a half behind the number 10 Bulls. So,
Yep.
you know, it's not going to take much for them to. I mean, they're only a game and a half up on Brooklyn, for God's sake.
Good point.
It's not going to take that much for a Paul George shutdown. If Joel Embiid gets shut down, they might as well shut down PG too. And you can't call him PG-13 anymore because he's wearing number 8.
Well, and over the last 3 games, he's only averaging 12. So it's PG-12 over the last 3 games. I've got another faller for you here, Doc. It's the Fantasy NBA Today. Shout out to our great producer, Andre Lemouche. Shout out to all of you for watching us here as you get prepared for the 4-game Tuesday night slate the right way with us. By the way, right around the corner here, we've got ATS and prop bet goodies for you. Okay, yes, you can monetize this and actually make some coin going to bet online. All right, Doc, we have a Nikola Vucevic problem in Chicago right now. Let me give you his Yahoo 9-cat values and how they have descended over the last month. Okay, over the last month, his value is 30. Really good. Okay. Over the last 2 weeks, his value has plummeted to 97. Over the last week, his value has plummeted to 188. Okay. He's gone from 30th to 97th to 188. We're going the wrong way. Over the last week, Doc, he's 10-9 with 0.7 threes per game and not a whole lot else beyond that. That is a sell high right there, because his overall ranking is still sterling. His overall stat line is still the bomb, okay? Trade. Something's happening. He hit a wall. He has drifted off mentally because of all the losses. Now we got the All-Star break coming up, and I don't think Chicago's going to shut him down. Billy D doesn't rock that way. But I don't know, Doc. I'm just, it's dud after dud after dud after dud, and I'm wondering if he's hit a wall. And if you could flip him and get into another similar stat player like Miles Turner. Offer up Vucevic for Miles Turner right now. Turner's coming back. He's not going to miss a ton of time. Turner's going to be a badass down the stretch. So, start there. Just pick other quality bigs and offer Vooch for them straight up. Are you bailing on Vooch right now? Where are you at with that?
Oh, it's funny you say that, because I know that I used to love his double-double prop like every game, because you knew he was going to hit it. And then I think I played it one night and missed, and then I watched it the next game and he missed, and I'm like, what is happening? And he's no longer a reliable double-double for the Bulls anymore, which, it goes right along with everything you just said. So I can get behind that.
Go out there and shop a little bit more. The trade deadline in our leagues is right around the corner. The trade deadline overall obviously has passed. So get your trade on with Nikola Vucevic. Okay, Doc. Do you have a point spread delivery for the people here, an ATS? And we'll get to some prop bets here. I've actually got a lot of prop bets, Doc. I've got one, maybe two, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5.5 prop bets. There's one I need to vet with you.
I've got a couple more fallers, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Hit me for sure.
So I got all fired up when Dalton Knecht got traded to Charlotte, because I was like, oh, Charlotte's going to run him into the ground and it's going to be fun. And he's going to have a chip on his shoulder because he got dealt. And then the Mark Williams part of that deal got canceled. And now Dalton Knecht is back with the Lakers. I'm sure he's very butthurt. Then they said he was not going to be playing because of personal reasons, which is probably related to the trade. And then he was ruled out. And last I saw, he's now injured. He's on the injured list. So Dalton Knecht got a bad break. It hurts. I'm sure he was hurt by being traded. And then he got traded to a really bad team. And now he can't even play for that team anymore. He's got to go sit on the bench and watch Austin Reeves and Luka and LeBron do their thing. So if you were holding on Dalton Knecht, and as I understand, Charlotte is talking to the league and trying to get the trade to go through and saying that the Lakers should not have failed Mark Williams on his what do you call it? His what's the word, Rick? Is
rescind, trade,
his physical. Yeah, they shouldn't have failed him on his physical. So Dalton Connect is one. Chris Middleton is in no man's land, maybe never to be seen again in Washington. And then Austin Reeves, who I just talked about, just had 45 points the other night. Luka made his debut on Monday. It's going to be the Luka LeBron show. Austin Reeves is still going to be damn good. He's still a big part of what they do, but could be a sell high moment on Austin Reeves after that massive game. So those are my three guys. And then as far as
pardon me, Doc.
As far as betting stuff, I didn't have time to look up the actual points, but we generally know what they are. I like Tyrese Maxey, especially if Joel Embiid is out. I like him to score. He's probably going to be right at 30, 29 and a half, 30 and a half. I like Maxey's points. I like Jalen Brunson's points. Indiana and New York is always a thing. And Jalen Brunson, I'm sure, likes kind of trying to punk Tyrese Halliburton. So I like Brunson's over in points. And then I feel like Ayo Dosunmu is banged up and Zach LaVine is gone. I'm feeling a Josh Giddey double-double if you're feeling frisky tomorrow night. That's a risky one, but I'm sure the odds will pay pretty well if it hits.
I like the list, Doc. So you gave us Brundog, you gave us Maxey, you gave us Giddey, and was that it?
I like KD to score a lot of points tomorrow.
All right. Okay. We got a lot to unpack here. But first, I want to tell you about our app. Have you guys downloaded the Sports Ethos app? Do it now. It's free. Go to your favorite app store and download it. All right. We've got super comprehensive. We had blurbs for NBA, MLB, and NFL, and coverage that is award-winning beyond that. So check it out, man. We had a Pete Nance blurb on trade deadline day. Okay. I was looking through and like, Pete Nance, who's that? Okay. There's a blurb on him. That's how thorough it goes. Okay. Guys signed on 2-way contracts. Boom. It's there. Okay. And then obviously all of the, like Kevin Durant in or out, obviously that stuff's all going to be on there. I just want to let you know, we go deep, really, really deep as we should. Because you never know with these guys when they're going to pop in and do something and then become a thing. All right. I want to go back really quickly, Doc, to the Connect and Williams story, because the plot thickens a little bit here. Andre Lamouche helping us out saying, based on this report, the Hornets have been in contact with the NBA exploring options to dispute the Lakers' failed physical assessment of Mark Williams. Sources tell ESPN. The Williams Connect trade was nixed Saturday, and now the Hornets weigh avenues to challenge. This is so interesting to me because this speaks to the Lakers having buyer's remorse about making that trade, Doc. Okay. You give up Connect, you give up, a future first round pick. LeBron, according to reports, wasn't super happy about how aggressive they were for Mark Williams on Luka's watch, whereas they really didn't make moves like this, at least over the last year or two, on LeBron's watch. So then the Lakers maybe went like, okay, LeBron, you hate the move? Cool, we'll just back out of it. It's so shady and so funky, okay? And this is Charlotte. They're like, no, double middle finger salute to you guys. Because, Doc, Mark Williams was playing for Charlotte before the trade. Their doctors cleared him, okay? Now the Lakers doctors have red flagged him to the point of rescinding a trade. This is medical team against medical team shooting up double birds at one another, okay? And so how injured is Mark Williams? Or did the Lakers find an avenue to get out of a trade that they had buyer's remorse on? That's the vibe I'm getting right now. Dude, look, please pull up Mark Williams' game log right now. Can you please do that?
Yes.
Please pull up Mark Williams' game log right now. And the trade deadline was February 6th, okay? So go back to February 5th or February 4th, and please give me that game from Mark Williams, okay? February 5th or February 4th. He played well. I think he had a double-double with some goodies, and I can't remember right now. And if memory serves, he played in the game right before the deadline.
February 1st, he had 20 and 15. February 3rd, he had 23 and 14. And on February 5th, Wednesday, he had 6 and 5 in 25 minutes.
So hold on. He played on the 5th.
Yep.
There you have it. Dude, this is some shady ass Laker business right here, bro. I hope Charlotte wins. This is shady ass Laker business, bro. Whether it was LeBron, whether Pelinka just like woke up and was like, what did I just do trading Connect? The Lakers there's funky stuff going on here, dude. Dude, if Charlotte was like, dude, they're not doing this for petty reasons. This isn't just petty, right? Like, this is like, no, dude, there's nothing wrong with this guy. What are you doing, Lakers? You know what I'm saying? They're not just fighting it to be petty. They're fighting it because I think the Lakers are full of crap.
Yeah. I mean, and it'll be weird either way. Now if the trade goes through again, these guys have to go through that whole emotion again.
Can you imagine?
It's crazy. But either way, I get the feeling that Dalton Connect, even if Pelinka was like, look, dude, I shouldn't have traded you. Everybody's mad at me. Not mad at me like they're mad at Nico in Dallas, but they're mad at me and I want you back. And Connect's like, well, I don't really want to come back. Maybe. I don't know. We can just speculate, but it's very interesting, and it will be interesting to see if the league calls out the Lakers and be like, you guys are trying to cheat.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think the NBA in like saying that would just say, no, the trade's going to go through. We think Charlotte is right. Lakers, we think you're wrong. But I don't necessarily think they're going to put anybody in the penalty box over this. Do you know what I'm saying? I think they may just like say no. And that would be bad enough news on the Lakers side. All right, crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Do us a favor, guys. Go to sportsethos.com and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. And we appreciate you guys. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Give us a 5-star review and a thumbs up, like it, all that kind of stuff. Retweet it, please. And if you're watching us on Twitter, go ahead and retweet us. It helps us out a lot. Trying to grow this thing and blow it up. Guys, nobody's doing fantasy better than us, okay? And more people need to hear about that, and your help would be fantastic. All right, Doc, let me get into an ATS delivery for you right here. And I'm going to be honest, okay? It's a 4-game night, and you know how I'm 17 and 13, Doc. How am I 17 and 13 this year? Well, a lot of luck. And Doc, I've been choosy. Okay, dude, we're here on February 10th, and I've delivered 30 ATS. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not going to give you a 3-pack every night because it's inefficient, and if I'm not bobbing it, I don't play it. Okay, so on a 4-game night, I may or may not have an ATS delivery for you, but I got one tonight, Doc. The Indiana Pacers plus 1.5 at home against the New York Knicks. Okay. I like the fact that Indiana is a home dog, and if I were Rick Carlisle, I'd be telling them that. Guys, do you know who's favored to win tonight's game? Who, Coach? Who? The Knicks. Okay, that would piss me off if I were in that Pacer locker room. Doc, the Pacers are so freaking deep. Okay, think about it. Like, they miss Miles Turner, but they don't super miss Miles Turner. Thomas Bryant's been solid. They just go smaller, and you play all of these great guards, right? You can play Jarris Walker a little bit more. You can play Obi Toppin a little bit more. Indiana is arguably the deepest team in the entire NBA, okay? And on the other side, Doc, you've got the New York Knicks, who do not have OG Anunoby, okay? Miles McBride played 35 very horrible minutes in their previous game. Campaign, dude, their bench right now with Jericho Sims gone and Precious Achiuwa starting is Campaign and Miles McBride. That's it. That's their bench. Cam, who's their big off the bench? Quentin Post. I don't figure it out. They don't have a big off the bench, okay? So to me, Indiana's depth, Doc, and speed of play and they're at home. I just think it's all, I mean, it's going to be a great game. Okay. So like Indiana by 5, Indiana by 3. I think it's going to be a fantastic game, but I got Indiana plus 3.5 tomorrow, Doc, mainly because of their depth versus the Knicks' lack of depth.
Interesting. They played at New York on October 25th, and that was one of those games where Tyrese Halliburton decided to not play basketball. He was 0 for 8, 0 points in that game. The Knicks blew them out. But the next time they came back and played against the Pacers in Indy, the Pacers won by 11, and Halliburton had 35 and 14. I think those are their only 2 meetings this season. So they haven't seen each other in a while. We don't have any recent data to go on how it's going to go. We've got one good game from the Pacers and one bad game from the Pacers. So it should be a dogfight. I'm with you. I looked at those 4 games, and I didn't like what I saw as far as the spreads and the vibes. And I was like, I'm not even going to pick one against the spread for tonight. But I think if I was going to pick one, I would want the big game with the home dog. So I kind of like it.
It's my boy right there, Dr. A, Steve Alexander, FSWA Hall of Famer. I am Rick Kamla. We have our producer, Andre Lemouche, with us as well. Give him a follow, by the way. It's Andre, Lemos. Give Andre a follow, man. Come on, do it. And we're Fantasy NBA today, previewing Tuesday night slate. And we are coming down the home stretch here, okay? I'm going to, in like rapid fashion, give you my Ricky props here for the day. Jalen Brunson, point prop over. Okay. Tyrese Maxey, point prop over. This is the one I need to vet with you. Obi Toppin, point prop over. Karl Anthony Towns, point prop over. Kobe White, point prop over. Oscar Thompson, PRA over. Okay. So let's go back to these. Jalen Brunson loves Indiana. Doc, you gave us Brunson, point prop over. Me as well. Check this out. This year, he's averaging 29.5 against Indiana. Last year, he averaged 35.7 against Indiana. The year before, he averaged 32 against Indiana. He goes off on this team. Okay. So everything Doc said, Jalen Brunson, point prop over, and we're co-signing here. Here's another co-sign. I've got some more goodies here on Tyrese Maxey, Doc. And I'm taking this number all the way up to 30.5, Doc. If it's 31.5, I'm not playing the over on Maxey. That the value's sucked out of that. If it's 30.5, 29.5, 28.5, I'm playing the point prop over. Okay. He's been 30 plus in 8 of the last 9 with a pair of 40s. I believe he had 39 in the previous game. Joel Embiid, I believe, is not going to play in this basketball game. Again, he's questionable. It's back-to-back. He's going to miss one of them. I think it's going to be this one. And, Doc, it's obviously a great matchup against Toronto, okay? And now, let's get to Obi Toppin. I need to vet this one with you, Doc, okay? You know why we're going with Obi Toppin? The reunion game angle, the revenge game angle, okay? And, like, if Miles Turner – so here, if Miles Turner is out, Doc, I'm rolling with the over on Obi. If Miles Turner's in there, I'm not. Because Obi might play and he might not if Miles Turner is in. But don't you think Obi Toppin's pretty locked in for 22 to 24 minutes if Miles Turner does not play?
He should be. And, I mean, his over-under for points is probably going to be 9.5. So it's not like he needs to go crazy. He just needs to hit 10. His last 5 games, 14, 10, 0, 13, and 18. That's 4 out of 5 overs that probably hit as long as Thursday wasn't over 10.5. So, and he likes playing against the Knicks. And I'm sure the Pacers will give him an opportunity to play against the Knicks, I would hope. So I kind of like it. It's gutsy, but, you know, I hit a 4-leg on Monday, and some of the dudes that hit were, 4.5 Bub Carrington assists. And And there was another super low one. Oh, Zach Reese-Shea to score more than 9.5 points. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're sexy or cool or exciting. It just matters if they hit. So I can get behind some Obi Toppin against the Knicks.
I love it, dude. That's my boy, Steve Alexander, absolute legend and GOAT in this thing. Okay, so again, if Turner plays, I'm out. If Turner does not play, I'm in. And only if the number's 9.5. I'm not going 10.5 over on Obi Toppin. If it's 9.5, get me to dubs and it's a win, then that's where I'm at with that. All right, so that's vetted. Karl Anthony Towns, Doc, point prop over. He had 9 points in his previous game. That domination job by Boston. Okay. You got a big time bounce back factor, and you've got one of the MVP candidates was humiliated, basically. I love all of that. Will Miles Turner play? I mean, I like Cat with or without, but if Turner doesn't play, I guess that makes me like him a little bit more. First meeting this year, Cat went for 25 and 12, shot 53%. Cat is a plus 2.6 PPG on the road, Doc. He's at 25.3 on the road. He's in like the 22s at home. So there's a lot of over trends here for Karl Anthony Towns. He's averaging 24 on the year. I presume this number will be 24.5, 23.5. If it's 25.5, don't play it. If it's 24.5 or below, take the over on it. How you feeling about Karl Anthony Towns over, like I said, 23 or 24.5?
I'm okay with it. He should do that against Indy. What I've been doing with big stars like him and Wemby, the odds aren't as good, but I try to find like 2 or 3 props that I really like, and then I'll just go with a Cat double-double or a Wemby double-double, or tack it on at the end and make it a parlay. And it pays out pretty well, and you can usually rely on, you don't have to sweat that one usually. Cat's going to double-double, Wemby's going to double-double. So I kind of like a Cat double-double in this, but I'm fine with the points also. I mean, he needs to have a big game if they're going to win.
I mean, look, I'd play them both. You've talked me into it, Doc. Even if Miles Turner's not a great rebounder, right? Pascal Siakam, what is he? 7, 8, 9 rebounds. He's not a great rebounder, right? Dude, Cat should dominate the glass in this game. He really should. And even if Thomas Bryant plays, he's a pretty good rebounder, but he's a bad, he's Thomas Bryant. I like both. I like the point prop over, and I like the dub for Cat. You talk. I feel really good about that dub prop. All right, we're helping you guys with some investment decisions here on Tuesday night. I got a couple of more. Doc, Kobe White. Okay, it's his world right now in Chicago. I love the point prop over here. Okay, if it is 21.5 or below, 22.5 and up, I'm out. Okay. And I think you can still get this at 21.5 or 20.5. His average on the season is like 18.5, getting probably close to 19 at this point, probably scooched up a little bit by Vegas with Levine gone. All right. You get the point. 21.5 over, and anything below that number. Over the last 5 games, Kobe White's gone 25, 22, 22, 20, 27. Doc, no end in sight to the 20-plus point games. Lonzo Ball is going to miss Tuesday night's game, and I'm liking Kobe White, dude, over his point prop over. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, I said Giddey double-double, but I don't think Giddey's going to score a ton of points. Kobe White and Matas Buzelis have been the 2 guys to step up their offense since Zach LaVine is gone. So, and I didn't realize Kobe had been on that big of a heater. He was in my 30 deep lineup last week, and I kind of got smoked, and I was like, what happened? It was because I didn't have any big men in my lineup, but Kobe played just fine. So, and I don't think it'll be more than 19.5. That sounds right.
Well, then, yeah, I mean, I really like it at 19.5. Just get him to that 2 in front of the number, and you win. I like that. And then finally, Doc, Osar Thompson has PRA over. Over the last week, we talked about it. He's been 14, 7, and 4. 14, 7, and 4. PRA of 25, right? And so, Doc, if his PRA, because for the season, his PRA is not a 25. This is literally the apex of what he has done this year over the last week. All right. So has Vegas caught up to that? Right? Are they going to have Osar's PRA at 24.5? If so, they've caught up to it. I highly doubt that. So to me, Doc, what if his PRA is at 21.5? 22.5. 23.5. I'm starting to lose interest a little bit, right? I want you to investigate the Osar Thompson PRA over here. Don't do the points, rebounds, or assists, because you know how the Thompson twins roll, Doc. It's like the shell game. Like, you're going to get huge numbers in those three categories. It's just which are they going to be night to night? Who cares? Just play the PRA and load it all up into a bag or a bundle Rooski, as Andy Reid likes to say. So how about a PRA over here for Osar, like 21.5, man, 22.5? You feeling that?
I can get behind that. I may roll some of that tomorrow with you. I like the fact that you use the word apex because I've been playing a lot of Golden Tee golf with some new buddies lately that I haven't played with a lot. And the one dude was like, man, my apex was so messed up on that shot. And the other guy's like, what in the hell are you talking about? Apex. And then you just dropped a perfect usage of apex in regards to Sarah Thompson and his fantasy value right now. So he is apexing. He is high. He's on the way up.
Is he an apex predator? You see that from time to time on Twitter. Look at this apex predator in action in the wild.
Oh, by the way, I don't know about this an apex predator, but
have you? Do you follow Nature is Amazing on Twitter?
No.
You got to follow Nature is Amazing on Twitter because Nature is amazing. I don't know. I'm a nature boy. Are you a nature boy?
I enjoy animals, sure. I like a good waterfall every now and
then. Can you handle a nice, pretty sunset? Can you handle it?
There's a lot of waterfalls where I live, bro. I've been to all of them. So yeah, I can do some nature.
I've been to a lot of the waterfalls in northern Georgia as well. They are gorgeous. I love the hiking and all of that, man. So, guys, we're goodie free. We have dispensed the goodies. Is there anything left in your chamber, Doc? Anything you want to tell the people before we get out of here? Or are we done previewing Tuesday night's slate?
I had a dream that I had a small pond in my front yard, and there were two alligators, big alligators, living in it. And we have a small dog. And I was like, all right, how am I going to keep these things from killing my dog? And what happens if we accidentally leave the door cracked open like we often do? And I come home and find an alligator in my house. So yeah, that was my dream. Now I did come home and find a feral cat in my son's bedroom like 2 months ago, right? And it was right before you and I started doing the show together here. And that was incredible. I've never seen an ant. You used to talk about nature. Nature was not beautiful that day, dude. That cat just wanted out of my house, and it destroyed my son's bedroom in the process. But we all made it.
What is a feral cat? What does that mean?
It means it lives outside and hates people, and you can't touch it or get near it.
Oh, so it's like rabid, a wild cat. Like it's a stray that's been Yeah. You probably want to.
And we left the door cracked open so the dog could get back in, and I think the cat followed it in. And I heard all this banging around in my son's room. I go down there, and this thing sees me and just goes, you know what, crazy, and it's like kicking over glasses of water and clocks and trophies, and it was nuts.
I'm sorry to laugh.
It was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying.
So did it leave your house on its own? Did you have to shoo it out? How the hell did you get that beast out of your house? I had to get a broom
and I opened doors and got a broom and just started tracking him and chasing him around and finally got him out. My son came home. He's like, what happened in my bedroom, dude? It was like climbing up the blinds. He was trying to jump out the window, but the window was closed. It kept smacking into it.
Oh my God, dude. What a crazy feral cat story. I didn't think.
It was something else.
I didn't think that was going to go on, man. Guys, Doc and I will be back after the games on Tuesday night at about midnight, Tuesday going into Wednesday Eastern time. We'll break down these 4 games. We'll have a bunch of goodies for you. Okay, so check us out there. Also, subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast. Please leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe to Sports Ethos YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up on the video. That would be great. Go to sportsethos.com and subscribe right there. Set up a membership and check out our brand new MLB draft guide at sportsethos.com. For Doc, for Andre, I'm Cam. Thanks for watching. This episode's been brought to you by Bet Online.